Welcome back to JMC Live. We do have Chris Helton on the line, the lead singer of I've Died Daily. Now, Chris, at the break you were talking about how as a child you started with video games and then you transitioned to reading books. And as you kept getting enlightened by the words on the page, it somehow tug at you. It was almost like it was enticing you to want to read more. So you ended up finding more books to read and more people to find. Was it easy to find these other people that were like you? I mean, could you just tell by looking at people or just a quick conversation with somebody who would understand what you were trying to do and what you were trying to accomplish? In my life, it didn't take a lot to find those that were interested in the Wiccan occult lifestyle. It only took a few seconds to understand exactly what people's mindsets were and were about. So I'm going to hand it over back to you, Chris, and you can pick up where you left off.
Honestly, I think you hit the nail on the head with that one. I mean, the majority of the time, all it took was a look. I mean, I could see a person and see that they clearly were setting themselves apart from just, I guess, the standards, what society saw as normal and average and every day. And so usually it was a quick glance, and then it was a quick word, and I was like, all right, you do believe what I believe, so let's go over there and talk privately about the things we believe because, hey, no one else is going to accept us. And when you put it in perspective, it was surprisingly easy to find people that were on the same wavelength. And I think that probably, that's just one of the tools that the devil uses to try and keep you as far away from Jesus as possible. Because rather than fill your life with people that are trying to help save you, it's going to be people that are going to help draw you deeper into that hole. And, it was an interesting amount of darkness that I had to deal with. And I can remember one time where it was a group of us, and we're just hanging out at, 3 o'clock in the morning, and we're walking through Old Town Niles, which is in Fremont, California. And a couple of the guys are just high out of their mind, and one of them's walking in the street, like full on in the middle of the street. I'm like, dude, you got to get out of the street. You're not being smart. Dude, you got to get out of the street. And we're walking from where there was a dead end. I mean, there was no cars, nothing over there. And finally I yelled at him. I said, dude, get out of the street. I grabbed his arm and I pulled him out of the street. And the most terrifying thing was a flatbed pickup truck came tearing around that corner just as I pulled him out of the street from that place that there was a dead end, that there was no cars. And I'm just like, whoa, that was not cool. And so we progress a little bit further, and we go into Niles Canyon, where, there's always been some sort of just deep mysticism and spiritual concepts that people have thrown out about that area. And it definitely is dark and kind of ominous at nighttime, especially at 3 o'clock in the morning when, all you hear in there is the crickets and stuff. And so we head over into that area, and one dude starts flipping out. Just full on, like having an argument with someone that's not there. And I'm like, okay, these guys are just yanking my chain. These guys are just totally messing with me, whatever. And within that same time frame, all of a sudden, my body just goes limp. And the guy who's behind me catches me, and I'm hearing everything that's going on, and I'm aware of what's going on, but I can't move. And so these guys are dragging me back out to the street because, we hadn't even gone that far into the canyon, but we went far enough, apparently. So they're dragging me out. The other guy's wrestling two other people, trying to keep them off him as he's yelling out to a guy named Mike. He's like, Mike, what are you doing, man? You got to back off. Da-da-da-da. And I'm just like, okay, this is just trip out. So we get out of that area. They carry me for, I think, like 3 or 4 blocks. And all of a sudden, I start feeling like I can move again. And, just weird stuff. I I'm listening to myself say it, knowing full well that I experienced it, but also at the same time hearing it going, that doesn't happen. But, I mean, yeah, I mean, just really, really, I mean, wicked stuff. But, I mean, fast forward a couple of years, I finally cut ties with all these people because, like I said, I just got tired of that lifestyle when I saw that people weren't really adhering to the one rule, which was harm none. I said, no, man, I'm done with this. I don't want to deal with this anymore. I'm going to go on and find the right way, because clearly what I thought was the right way wasn't the right way. So I thought the best thing for me to do would be to study other Eastern religions and stuff like that. And so I started studying Zen thought. I started studying Taoism, Shintoism, and Buddhism, and just all these different kinds of Eastern concepts. And I none of them, I mean, the closest one that sounded true to me was Buddhism, but even that, it left me questioning, because I'm like, I don't know, it didn't seem like it would fulfill 100%. So it gets to the point where I'm out of high school and we move on to college. I decided to take some philosophy courses in college, and I thought that really opened my eyes. I was like, wow, okay, Descartes, Spinoza, Schopenhauer, these guys know what they're talking about. Hume, Nietzsche, oh man, these guys are brilliant. And then I went and studied the ancient philosophies of Socrates and Aristotle and Plato, and I was like, man, these guys really got it down. Man, forget this religion stuff, forget the spirituality stuff. I'm just going to study philosophy, because clearly these guys know what they're talking about. Of course, if you've read any philosophy, no one actually knows what they're talking about, because they're just asking more questions. But I mean, I thought that I was going to be the smart person, the educated person, the enlightened person, because I could then, answer a person's question with a question, or whatever the situation may be. And I thought, that's okay, because, I'll really be dialed in now. People will respect me. People will understand that I'm clearly, a person to come to. I mean, I thought I was some sort of guru or something, like I would have everybody's answers for them. And, I mean, of course, that was a joke, too, because that was just me trying to toot my own horn, because I thought that I was a bigger, better person than I actually was. So, I mean, I go to college for, like, a handful of semesters and decide that that's not for me, so I end up getting out of college and just working for a while, and then end up moving in with some friends that... I was renting their couch for, like, I think $350 a month, because, renting a couch is the way to go. And heavy into video games back then, too. And I'd just gotten into talking with a guy about potentially working on a movie together. I'm like, oh, dude, that's awesome. Sure, I'll try my hand at acting. So September 11th happened, and the movie that he was writing, the company that he was working with pulled the plug and said, yeah, you know what, after something like September 11th happens, we can't really fund a movie that's as, twisted as what you're going to try and release. So I just quit my job and had no money, because I thought I was going to be a famous actor, and was renting a guy's couch for $350 a month, of which I didn't have the money. So my girlfriend, who's now my wife, my girlfriend at the time, she was giving me money, and I was spending it on a game called Magic the Gathering, which is a card game that's exceedingly addictive to anybody who has an addicting personality like myself. And so I was spending all my money on that, including the money she was giving me, and my parents were giving me money to pay rent, so I was using the money they gave me to pay rent, or, my girlfriend's money. Whosever money was given to me later, that would be paid for rent. Everything else would be paying for the stupid addictions that I would have. And one night, it was December 21st, 2001. It was about 6 o'clock in the evening. I hadn't done anything all day except sit down on my friend's couch, that same one that I was renting, playing Grand Theft Auto 3. And I hadn't changed from the clothes that I had went to sleep in the night before, because I had nothing going for me. And I was sitting there and I was thinking, I am a drain on my parents. I'm a drain on my girlfriend. The people that I thought were my friends won't even see me right now. I can't get a job. I'm clearly not nearly as smart as I thought I was, otherwise I'd be able to get a job. I've made really stupid choices. I've hurt a lot of people. I think the best thing for me to do is kill myself. Because if I did that, then no one would have to worry about me anymore, because I'd be dead. I mean, know, they might be sad, but at least I would alleviate them of the burden of worrying.
All right, Chris, we'll take a break right there, and we'll talk about your struggles with suicide and where it led you to. We'll be right back.